Hi guys, apparently some gaming corpos think GTA 6 will be $100 and this will quote unquote save gaming because it will allow others to follow with $100 being the new normal for games! Exclamation point. I can see GTA 6 being $100 as it will be a huge game, but it would be hard for others to follow, surely. Well, it's an interesting question because they probably could charge $100 for GTA 6. Whether that's a good idea or not, I don't know. But they are going to be selling many, many, many millions of it, regardless of how much they price it at. So they're going to make a lot of money on it, whether it's like a $70, $80 or $100 game. The question of other games becoming more expensive, I seem to recall, I might be wrong about this, Oliver, but I seem to recall that in the massive Insomniac leak, there was this concept that games could be split into different parts that would, that could, basically mean that the cumulative cost of buying the complete package would increase. But what do you think about Alan's question more generally?
I think it's probably a question about what moves the most dollars, and I don't know. To me, I could see paying $100 for GTA 6 for sure, but there's going to be a range of responses to a game like GTA 6. Like some people would be willing to pay $20 for it. Some people would probably be willing to pay $500 for it, a really high price. And if you price above $70 USD, I think it's going to leave a bit of a bad taste in a lot of players' mouths. So I'm not sure that it maximizes profit to sell the $100 or $80 or $90. It might maximize profit to just sell the standard asking clearing price for games nowadays, which is either 60 or 70, more often 70 now, US dollars. But I mean, I think there is probably a legitimate conversation. I mean, it's not a great conversation, but it's a legitimate conversation to have about like game pricing and should it be more variable, and should we have like this level where the new Call of Duty, say, with all of its content is priced at, $10 or $20 above a title like a Spider-Man or something, or an Astrobot that might have less content. People certainly can have that argument. To me, I don't really see it that way personally. I tend to like the games that have less content but higher quality content than the games that might be packed full of like all this different games as a service stuff. But I mean, I think it's a legitimate conversation to have, but I don't think GTA will be the game to rip off that Band-Aid necessarily. I think they could, but I don't think they will.
Okay. Alex, thoughts?
I think GTA could maybe do it in the aspect of GTA 6 Online is somehow separate. I don't know how they would do it, but I imagine they could have multiple tiered product release with the core story, and then later on you buy an expansion pack to the story that also unlocks GTA Online or something. I have no idea. I imagine they could somehow do this, but I don't in the end think that's going to happen. The price of games in general, though, like there was obviously inflation keeps occurring, and so it doesn't make sense that all products just stay the same static price forever, including games. But at the same time, as things go up in price, they start conflicting with like other buying decisions, and so I think there's a really strong balance that needs to be met and hit there to actually make it worthwhile. I'm just looking at I don't want to pick on the game necessarily, but Doom the Dark Ages to pre-order it on Steam is €80. And that's the base version of the game. There's no version below it. So €80 for Doom the Dark Ages. That is a modern AAA single player only title. I think it's going to have a lot of stuff in it, and it's going to be very high quality. But, this isn't a Call of Duty, right? So we already see other games increasing the base price. And I think it's just going to keep happening more and more for different game types, but not for your Concords, obviously. They should have probably released that for free.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in the end, they did.
They did. Yeah.
They were funded.
What to make of this one? I think basically there's a vast range of monetization models, but what you don't want to do is actually alienate people from buying your game in the first place, which increasing the ticket price would do. There's a lot of ways that that publishers are actually getting us to spend more money on games, mechanisms we've never seen before in the past. For example, Game Pass, you pay your subscription, you expect a day one access to the games, right? That's what they're offering. Except you can actually pay like $30 more to play it 5 days early. And it's like,
Crazy.
Well, what is day one anymore? Presumably day one is when you can actually play the game, except day one is actually the game only available if you pay the extra money. And that's before we get into stuff like season passes and other things and, deluxe editions, gold, ultimate tier editions, that sort of thing. So, I expect to see more of a kind of publishers trying to pluck the golden goose without upsetting it, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.